Hello, everybody. This is Connections 50 Plus Wednesday Live. I'm Terri-Ann Joseph Prophet.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, and we welcome you this evening. And you will be seeing right now, you're watching three very handsome gentlemen staring at you. And they happen to be our guests this evening. It's all about the men, Terri-Ann.
Yep, we've been talking about this 5.8 G.S.E.L.F. and the fact that we're coming off the second stage. And, you know, we ended last week's show talking about, but first, Jennifer, we have to welcome everybody. We're so excited about the men. We forget to welcome everybody. This is a delayed broadcast. And I want to welcome our usual Facebook crowd. And a special welcome. Forget the person you're seeing down on the lower end. It's our friends of the Caribbean through Gayelle the channel. That's so, Jen.
Oh, yes. So we're going to start by, first of all, we're going to allow the men to introduce themselves. And you know what? Terri and I are going to be just stepping aside because this is all about them. So, as a start, and Errol, of course, will start off the program, and then we would ask Nigel and Andrew to introduce themselves and to chat a bit about how they interpret that 5.8 G.S.E.L.F. Right, Errol?
Just right. Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to be here in Connections 50 Plus weekly show, weekly broadcast. My name is Errol. And I will tell you, it's amazing. My eldest brother's name is Andrew, and my youngest brother's name is Nigel. So wow. I'm very comfortable here with Andrew and Nigel. All are going, fellas?
Very good, thank you.
All is good. Better and better all the time.
Good. So who am I? What do? I am so many things, and I do so many things. But more than anything else, I'm a father and a husband. And what informs that very much is the fact that I'm a recovering drug addict. Just those alone is enough for anybody to cope with, because I'm not just a father, I'm a father of 8. But on top of that, I work in television as a producer, director, presenter. I operate the television station and work in technical areas also, on cameras and editing and switching. I'm a stand-up comedian when I'm standing up and when people are assembling, but these days there's no assembling, so there's no stand-up comedy. I'm a master of ceremonies. I also speak with young people. I work as a volunteer at the Drug Rehab Center. I go throughout the region, assisting different NGOs who are dealing with substance abuse and rehab centers in the region, in Barbados in particular. And I am here now at a stage in my life. I'm going to be 60 years old this year, so I am 5.8.2 just now, all right? And I am now redefining myself, looking at new skill sets. I've been in television for 50 years plus, because from young I've been consumed with television. So I'm wondering if there's something beyond the screen, something beyond the cameras, something beyond everything that I need to embrace and look at now. But it seems as though more I try to veer away from it, is the more that television is confronting me. So I'm seeing television now as more than television. I'm seeing these windows as windows of opportunity, windows of unity, windows of progress, windows of passing the baton. You know, if you look at Gayelle later this evening, you'll see some young people, the Mad Company, with their own show that gets going at 8 o'clock. So I'm trying to fill the window with all of which is necessary, not only now because we're under lockdown, but in terms of making the window relevant in each time as the times evolve. So that's where I find myself now. That's where I am. And I will toss over to my little brother, Nigel, now. First to meet Nigel. Yeah, Nigel.
Yeah, well, good evening, everybody. Good evening to Gayelle, and good evening to everybody up the Caribbean and in Trinidad and Tobago. My name's Nigel, as El said, not his younger brother, but still younger though. I am actually 30 with 25 years experience. So I'll be 55 in a couple of weeks, and married 26 years together with my wife. No children. The Lord obviously had a different role for us to play, and we accepted that with open arms, because there are lots of children that actually fall through the cracks, and we are there to pick them up. My wife is a school teacher. And as a financial advisor, guiding group, this is what I do, you know, sitting down with people and taking, I guess, what they would like to happen in their life and trying to make it possible. Anything else you need to add? Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, Nigel, I wanted to tell me if that new place you are at now, if you are at a new place, what is the short term? What are you seeing coming out of, or developing coming out of this lockdown for you?
Well, there's a new normal. Every single thing that we used to do, I used to be out there all the time. I think one of my assistants told me my entertainment bill is down to 0 now, when it used to be so much more before. But my wife is making use of that extra money anyhow. So I still don't see it there. But the new normal, the paradigm has shifted, and what we used to think was important now is not really that important when you look at it, when you put it in perspective now. And when I was looking at the self, you know, that I was asked to think about, you know, the 4 things that came to mind to me were actually the spiritual part of it. The life to me is very simple now, because there's nothing you can do that's complicated. So the E was the easy. Nothing in this world happens without the love to make it go around. So it's loving. And the last part was fulfilling. So that was what self meant to me.
Okay. Andrew, time for us to meet you, Andrew. Do lean a little closer and tell us about you.
All right, Andrew Welch. I run a tourism business now, but well, I married 2 children, married 30 somebody years now. I'm 29 years old, but married 33 years now. I am involved in tourism, and well, as you know, tourism is totally shut down now. But in speaking to Jennifer, I was telling her that I wanted to take a slightly different approach this evening by sharing something additional. You mentioned about addiction. In my situation, I discovered from a little boy, I had a partner walking around with me. And that partner lives with you for life. And many of us walk with our partner, and we don't know that that partner is walking with us. And as a partner, who everything you do, you're real good at stuff. You could do anything. But that partner that's coming to sabotage a lot of it. And I found out about that partner back about 25 years ago, when I was in Guardian Life before Nigel.
Okay.
I went to a psychologist, and I told the psychologist, I am good at almost anything I do, but I keep sabotaging myself. And that's the partner I'm talking about. But the psychologist wasn't too hot, so we didn't really reach far. When I got into tourism, I went to another one. This would have been about 15 years ago. And she was a lot better. And I'm chronologizing it a little bit. And that partner is still walking around. That partner comes with what they call ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And people like me are super at anything we do. But the little partner in the background, just waiting to sabotage anything you do. I got invited by Brian Lewis to the Olympic Association's awards, the national awards, in December going. And I happened to meet a young lady there who I knew, a young lady, Elizabeth Rodney. And she told me she's into sports psychology. 5 days later, I hired the young lady as a personal coach. And that made one hell of a big difference. So my 50 plus is now a extremely bright 50 plus. So much so, well, my wife is taking care of my mother-in-law, so she and my younger son abandoned me, and my older son lives on his own, and I am taking care of plants, cleaning house, doing all kind of things that I could never do before. In addition to working on a second edition of a book that I published. So that's the direction I want to take my 50 plus. A few things happened to me. One, God, of course. Two, my wife. Three, the lady who runs my business, Christine Basanta. And four, the young lady who just came into my life, Elizabeth Rodney, the psychologist. So that is my introduction. And we could go into anything else that Errol wants to direct me to.
Well, I want to toss back to the ladies to take lead until we jump back in the panel, because if I remember the format, we had our intros. They will take us through and then we'll jump back in a whole discussion, I imagine. Is that correct, ladies?
Yes, it is. Mute. Yes, it is, Errol. And that is, Jen, just unmute. That introduction is powerful. This is a short step. I want to ask 3 questions. You are 3 extraordinary men who I think don't fit you look like normal men, but one is, yeah, you look like normal men, but Nigel, you are married, going on to the future, no children, but taking on the responsibility of children. Andrew, you openly have accepted help, therapeutic help. You've gone to a psychologist, you've gone to a coach, and you are acknowledging the support. And Errol, you are the poster for realize what has happened and start a new self. My simple question to you gentlemen, because all of you have a 5.8 G-self, is what is it about you that allows you to not have the hang-ups that women perceive men as having in terms of being so true to yourself, getting help, and moving forward?
Well, in my case, I would have to say it has to do with the fact that where drugging and my life has taken me, I don't think I could end up being any more vulnerable or more open than that, you know. I spent a lot of time out on the streets in the worst days of my drugging. And out there, there's nothing like shame. Those things don't exist, you know, shame and pride and all these things, they don't exist. And then I ended up in a rehab center. And even there, I went in the shower, 6 other naked men going in the shower, whatever it is going on, you know. I have lost pride and I have lost, I got it on my own. Now I'm the epitome, as Frank like to say, the epitome of do it for myself, you know. But I understand with respect to my emotional condition, my mental condition, that I need help. Physically, I figure I could do it all, but I understand. So even late last year when I was going through a pretty difficult time, almost a dark time in my life, I didn't play hero. I went and checked myself into the rehab center and spent a couple of nights and refocus, talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist, and come out with a new direction, because I don't want to lose what I have. And I cherish what I have. And at the top of that list is my family and my sobriety. And when I say my family, it includes all of my siblings, my children, my wife, and you know, I don't want to lose those things. So I know that I am powerless over my emotional state. So I'm not trying to play hero. When things get rough, I literally hear bells and see flashing lights, you understand? And I go. I have a group, a therapeutic group that meets every day of the year. I am a lot less regular at those meetings these days, but when I feel distress, I find them, and if it's too much, I go and check myself into the rehab. I've done that for many years, and that's it. I'm not playing hero because I don't lose what I have.
Nigel?
Yeah, well, I know Errol a long time, so I'm very, very proud, and way to go. I'm very, very proud of accomplishments you have achieved, and you've told me your story many, many times. Mine is not as colorful, if you want to call it that, but we all have our own crosses to carry, and I certainly have my own as well. What I have, though, is I have a very dynamic support system in place, led by my wife, Nisha. I also have I also have a therapist who I go to and a psychologist, because I believe that sometimes we are screaming to ourselves in our own head, and sometimes we just need somebody to put it in the order it's supposed to be put in, because I can't necessarily decipher. It's like how they say, man can't listen to the radio and ask for directions. He has to turn off the radio and then ask for directions. We can't necessarily do two things at the same time. So I do have a support mechanism in place, that guides me through a lot of the things that I do every single day. One thing I've been told obviously is that I'm in touch with my feminine side. I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, but I've been told that anyhow. But what it has allowed me, though, to do is to be able sometimes to say the things out loud that I say and keep in my head, because my wife has always been there to listen, not pass judgment or critique what I say, but actually just accept what I said as my view on something, which could be very different from hers. But the plus is that I do have the listening ear, and I have it with other people as well in my life, both male and female. But the most important thing, as I said, is the support mechanism and the dynamics of it bring a different perspective. Whereas if I just saw things through my own eyes alone, then it's like the fifth gospel, this one according to Nigel, whereas it really needs to be compartmentalized into the specific areas of wisdom. That's what I am guided by all the time.
Thank you. Andrew?
Well, this is this is really eye-opening for me, because Jennifer called me last week, and now I'm ending up on a program with two mad people like me. I say mad people because everybody in Trinidad and Tobago feels when you talk about psychologists, you're mad. But I think right now I am in a place where I wanted to be for many years. Many years of, well, the partner who I walk with, he helps you to start a lot of stuff, and then he abandons you so you don't finish them. And that was my pain over the years, for many, many years. But now that the four elements, God first, and when I say God, Nigel, Errol talked about a group that he meets with. My church has a men's group and also subgroups. And you sit in meetings like that and you listen, and you contribute also, and you learn a lot. And a lot of what comes up and a lot of the things that we discuss are things that I have been going through or am going through. And the support group mechanism that I have now, well, my wife was always there. Christine, the girl who runs my business, was always there. God was always there, but I didn't know him. And that new combination. And the young lady who had me sitting in the Hyatt every Tuesday and Friday, early in the morning, has made a massive difference for me because of the amount of things that I can do now, the amount of things that I do. A total transformation. Something like an invoice could have taken me 2-3 months to do, and I need the money, and I know exactly what I had to bill for. But it's boring, so it takes me 2-3 months to do. And that put me in a real crazy situation. I owe so many people money. I seen it playing on TV for everybody to hear. And was wondering why I keep sinking in this little circle. But the revelation of the circle is a big part of the moving forward. I am now ready for the world.
Amen.
Great. Gentlemen, I have to congratulate you. And to our listeners, we didn't plan it so. And that here I am listening to these stories. All 3 of these men are all married men with very supportive wives. So for me, that, listening in. So my question, and really too, must congratulate you all in terms of not believing you can do it all. And this, I had this feeling, and I must say, I thought men always felt they're too big to go to get help, Definitely not a psychologist or a therapist or any other, professional to get help. So it's great to hear that I'm wrong in that thinking. What I would like to ask them, I would just, change this question in terms of you'll have your men friends. Do you see a difference between how they think to how you're thinking now, especially at this 5.8 G stage? What do you see? How would you compare? You could just think of any other male friend that you have, preferably one that's not married, to see if they think the same.
I have a friend who is close to my age and he's unmarried, but he's very, very much family oriented still. I mean, he's like a mama's boy. He still did go by mommy. He still carry his shirt and thing, but he's very supportive of his family unit because that's the family unit he belongs to. He works hard. He's ambitious, and I don't know. I don't know if it is that when people who assemble resemble, and people who resemble assemble. So I can't say that there are men who I know, and I do have a lot of friends. I have thousands of friends, but I don't have a lot of friends. I can't say that there are men I know my age who I think lackadaisical or not pulling the weight to, That's the kind of men I see in my circles all the time.
Nigel?
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I agree. I do have, as I said, most of the time, the line that, or the people I line with now are mostly married men. I do have some times where I try to find my youth again. So I go out with some single younger men, and most of the time all their focus is on single young women, which is not necessarily my focus, right? But the language and the support and, we're going down with doing things similar. I find that, all the people I associate with now think along the same lines. As I said earlier, I am 30 with 25 years experience. And it does feel like, because I always felt when I was younger, when you get old, what does it feel like? But it doesn't feel any different because I don't think I am old. All that matters is that I'm actually finding myself, whereas before I could not put my deck of cards into the order it was supposed to be. It was all over the place. A jack would pop out here and an ace would come there. But now there's a sequence to how I handle things and how things are done, which makes it a lot more palatable and more easier for me to digest as I'm going through my day-to-day activities, you know. So I know you had said earlier about extraordinary things, but no, we're ordinary men who may do extraordinary things, but we're still very much ordinary and still grounded, you know, very much so. So that's all I have to say.
Oh, great. Andrew?
Well, I would have to search for friends. I say that because most of my time is business. I have acquaintances who I do business with and who are suppliers and so. Hanging out. I have not been a hangouter for a while. I would take people out to parties, to whatever I take visitors out to, but that is about my liming. But some of the guys who I worked with in the past, who I still consider good friends, but we're not bonded as in always hanging out or going out. Once in a while, I would link up with them. And they don't have the partner that I have. And most of them are quite successful. And I, without letting them know in some instances, I look up to them. Whereas, well, Errol will know about birds of a feather flocking together. And when you're down, you're looking to pull somebody down to be down with you. I never had that mentality. So I watch my real partners who are very successful. And I sort of mentor off of them. I always, well, let me put it this way. I have the opportunities to be super successful, but was sabotaging those opportunities. And now in a position to move forward. So I don't have liming friends as such. I'm not much of a limer. I go to functions and that's it. My biggest lime is Hyatt Fete every year, and that's because I get a free ticket because my company is the operator of the Hyatt. That is my line, full stop.
Gentlemen, you know, last week we were, when we were ending the show, and I'm looking at time, and I know that some of us have some commitments. We made the point, this whole discussion that we're talking about, this 5.8 G.S.E.L.F, this transition from life when you were 20 to 50, and life now when you're 50 to 80. And John and I started Connections 50 Plus because we recognize there is something fundamentally different. There is you've been there, you've done that, and at this time, you really can be very true to yourself. And I'm hearing a lot of that reflected in your comments and so on. We wanted to have this group here where we say men speak. Asking a question on behalf of women and answering please as men, can't do anything else. Do you see a transition at this time? I say that because there is a load of responsibility on men to be providers, to continue being, no matter where the woman goes and what the woman does. But men have to consistently, as well as you performed in the second act, you better continue performing in the third act. Okay? Do men need a break? Do men make a transition? Is there a third act for men that they would like to ditch some of the load from the second act, but there may be pressure to not do that ditching? Or do you ditch regardless? Yes, Errol?
Men do not have the luxury of ditching anything. In the third act, I find as though more is added on, as though more, and what the third act has been for me is being able to get rid of some of my hang-ups and just, let me tell you, for me, when I'm out, I perform. This is when we used to be out. When I'm out, I perform. When I'm on stage, I am myself. And when I'm home, I am nobody. And coming to terms with those roles is what made my life a lot easier. I'm recently married. I'm not even married a year yet, right? Next month I'll be married a year. But the sense of having to provide, the sense of having to protect, the sense of having to praise, the sense of having to do all of these things, and try to have those things done for me also, because it's difficult. I don't know to sit down and wait for things to come to me. I get up and I go and I do. This thing start, I done put on thing in the yard already, I have some pacture and lettuce put on, and looking to put on some more things, because my earning capacity has been severely diminished. But I still have to feed my family. I still have to feel like a man. I still need to feel like I'm a provider. I still need to feel like I'm a protector. It's something that is etched into my molecular structures. I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't know how to goof off. I've never goofed off in 33 years. I just keep going and doing and looking for what more I can do and get and put together, you know, gather. I need to gather things and have things there because I'm a man.
Thank you, Errol. Nigel.
Yeah, I agree that men don't get time off at all, you know, because I still have to get up and do, I don't know, I'm still old school. My father taught me the fundamentals of what it meant to be a man, which is to provide for your wife. Yes, women burn the bra and they want to be independent, but I think women prefer to be interdependent. So they have their own separation, but they're still, you know, part of the whole nucleus of the family. But I still take my responsibility very, very seriously, which is to provide a roof over my wife's head and food and clothing and those things. What has happened between the 5.8 G to me is that I always looked at life in every 5 years, and I also looked at it as a journey up one side of the hill and down the other side. And now that I am 55 in a couple of weeks, I'm on the way on the descent on the other side of the hill. So what I do now would determine how fast I go down the other side of the hill. And I recently lost some very, very close friends, and not that they were doing anything wrong, but it's just that, you know, when you're younger, you don't know anybody who dies from anything, but they were dying. It's just that you didn't know them. It's now that you get older, you say, wait, everybody, you're in the age now, and being in financial services, being in insurance and things, it is very raw and it's very real to me. And with all this that's happening around the world now, it's bringing it to the forefront again. And it's scaring a lot of people. Everybody coughing and it's immediately COVID, but they had Sahara dust. They have so many different things around, but we always think of one thing. But what it has done from transitioning to me is put the clarity. So, you know, you might have had 10 ways to do something before while you were going through the life stages. But now I zoomed in on one, and it's the one you put all of your resources behind the one now, rather than all of your resources behind 5 different things. So the clarity is what's most important to me. I know where I am heading. I know if you don't know where you're going, any path is going to take you, but I know exactly where I'm going. And Nisha has always been there to keep me grounded, to keep me focused on what the achievement is. It's never been anything materialistic to me, because you can take away, like they've taken away so many things from us now, and you still feel fulfilled and contented. So what you realize is more important is to, I think I summed it up before, when I travel the world, you don't ever remember what people say to you, but you remember how you felt. And when you go, as I'm going through life now and this stage of my life, the memories of what I'm treasuring more and how I'm feeling about them. So this is just bringing a lot more clarity to my life as I go towards my twilight years or my the golden years, you know, but it is how I feel. And I'm very, very happy. As I said, I have my support mechanisms. I was told, you know, it's a 20 slice pizza, but I'm down to a personal pizza now. So it's only four pillars in my life rather than 20 that pulling me all around the place. So that is where the clarity lies. And that's where I am very, very happy and contented. And I can see clearly now exactly where I'm going. And you may get little bumps in the road just like any other journey, but I don't lose sight of the end in mind at all.
Thank you, Nigel. And
No
Andrew.
problem.
Well, I am very comfortable and looking forward to massive things. Tourism has totally crashed, and whereas most tourism people might be holding their head and ball, I'm not. I look at my journey as one where I spent, I will say, 57 years scrambling about, doing things, getting things, achieving things, losing things, successful in many of the things I'm doing, but successful on the outside, not inside, not fulfilled. And when you're not successful on the inside, the things you get on the outside are easy to lose. So I have been losing a lot over the years. My real successes have started, I would say, this year. I would say this year, although I joined a church a couple of years ago, I still had my silent partner walking behind me, breaking down even the church aspect of things. But now that I have literally opened up and allowed support to come in the way it should, and don't have hang-ups about that, I feel 1,000% successful. I am right now working on a second edition of a book that I published. Now, in my scramble days, I published that. I say my scramble days because now that I'm going over the book, I'm seeing a lot of the things in the book are there because my silent partner was tired or just got fed up and just scribbled down a little bit of nonsense and left it like that. And so I'm now going over it and doing it properly. The new successful Andrew is working on that book. That is going to be a bestseller. In addition to which, I am planning my second book, which would be talking about my silent partner, ADHD, my walk with it, and to help others. Because a lot of children are going through that now. I started since I was in high school. I would sit down in an exam. I sat down in GC exam and got fed up with the exam and would not do what I was supposed to do since back then. So I am at a place now where I realize I have gone past that. Unlike Nigel, who sounds kind of old because he's starting to go down the hill already. I ain't going down no hill. I have, and I'm counting it, I have about 5 years to make up for 53. I can't do it over, but I could make up moving forward. I ain't looking back and pulling no weight behind me. I'm moving forward and I'm climbing with the support I have. So my new stage is a positive one, powerful one.
Gentlemen, oh, thank you, Terri-Ann.
Wow, thank you.
If I don't know about you, but before somewhere along the line, I shortchange these men. I shortchange our men. But after this discussion and this conversation, let me tell you, you all have get full points, total respect. And I am representing a lot of women out there. Yes, this is great. What I've heard from you all, and we just winding up our conversation here for this evening. What I have heard is really so encouraging, especially as a woman, as a mother out there. And I am right now 5.8 G single again. But it's very, very reassuring to hear you all men speak. What I like a lot, what I really loved hearing was the fact that you all, see the benefit of reaching out, of support. And at the 5.8 G stage of really not looking back, but looking forward, really taking your responsibilities very seriously. Doing what you have to do, very supportive with your families, understanding, and not just immediate family, as Nigel said in his case, to reaching out to others who need help, especially the younger ones. And what it looked like to me is that 5.8 G stage for men, they don't get that break to really sit back. We about, when we said 5.8 G.S.E.L.F, especially looking at the woman, our first thing is, listen, we have to sit back, relax, go within, and come back out and decide, okay, we're ready now. From what I've heard from you all, we are not allowing you all this. You're going continuous. It's a continuous journey. So I just want at this stage to say, thank you. Of course, this is not the end. Last week we said, okay, we have to bring on men. We had requests from many women telling us we need to hear from the men because it will help us understand them better and probably give a little more support. Okay, so it is great. This is something that we're going to be continuing. And Terri-Ann, so I don't know if you all have any closing remarks as we close off.
Yes, please. Yeah,
I just want to say thank you very much for having us all. I wish we have more time and could get into more detail about these things and more on the emotional level, because I know that psychiatrists and therapists and counselors didn't go and spend the money to study to come back and sit down. I know that when my hand breaks, I have a doctor for that. When I'm not feeling good, there's professional help for that too. So it's good to be here and looking forward to more such talk. Fellas, we have to meet,
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, Nigel.
No, I agree very much. I very much enjoyed this. I'm not alone in this, and this is what is important to me. Whereas I might go and see somebody by myself, it's good for men like Errol and Andrew, as well as others, and women to know that men do need the help and the listening ear as well, so it's not just about being macho. There is a different side of us that needs the support as well. And sometimes when we snap, it comes out in the wrong perspective sometimes, but it's just sometimes us screaming out for help, just like women scream out for help. We might do it in a macho scream, but it's still a scream. So I encourage you all to keep going with this. I want to be part of this journey again, because now that we're all locked down, we need to have some avenue to talk, and this is a very good avenue. So thank you very much.
And Andrew?
Yes, well, this is the start for me of sharing this kind of thing. It's quite fortuitous that Jennifer called me when she did, because my big aim was, as soon as I finished my tourism book, starting the next one. And the reason why I was starting it is because I know there are plenty of people like me out there, but the difference is they haven't sought the help or the support. And people just look at you as a failure. They look at so many people as failures. Half of the vagrants walking for the Spain, they're walking for the Spain because they didn't have that support. They didn't know what to do. they had a problem and they didn't know what to do. How do I get out of this? And there was nobody to guide them. That's part of my role now, helping and guiding.
Thank you so much, Terri-Ann. Before you close off, I just want to say this to our viewers, and Nigel could back me up on this too, that moving forward, the Connections 50 Plus, we're going to be continuing with Men Meetup. So we're going to be having some of these live chats, but also listen out for us. We're going to be sending out, letting you know when we're having these special transition coaching group sessions for men. And I mentioned Nigel because Nigel, you don't have to say anything now, but Nigel has been a participant in one of our, men group. So we can let you know more about that. So I just want to say that, Terri-Ann. So that is the Connections 50 Plus transition coaching small group session for men. Okay? So Terri-Ann, I'll leave you to close up on this.
This has been fantastic. All of our viewers, our Gayelle family up the Caribbean, Errol in our little group now. You have another Errol outside who, but for the Gayelle family up the Caribbean, we really, really do enjoy having you as part of us. And we can't wait to reach out and get there to our regular Facebook audience. And to the gentlemen out there, Connections 50 Plus is an open grouping. And we do try to have the views of everyone. This afternoon was beyond Jennifer and my wildest expectations, and this conversation is going to continue. So, bye-bye. See you all. Have a wonderful time, and we will meet again next Wednesday, 6 o'clock. All right? On the Gayelle and on Facebook Live. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.